My worst investing decision ever resulted in a negative 100% ROI. I lost everything. Stick around if you want to hear how. There are a lot of people on YouTube talking about how they're incredible investors and suggesting that they can lead you to the promised land of huge gains quickly with very little risk. There aren't many people on YouTube though talking about their bad investing decisions and sharing their terrible stock picks that were big mistakes and cost them a lot of money. And can't we learn from those? I think the natural tendency of stock picking YouTubers is to gloss over those or to pretend that they never happened at all. How about a candid conversation about what happens when investing goes wrong? Today, I'm going to share with you the worst investing decision I ever made that had a negative 100% ROI and I lost all my money. And that investment was in Tailored Brands, formerly the ticker symbol TLRD. Now, Tailored Brands is the company that owns Men's Warehouse, Moores, and some other men's apparel brand names. And so when I bought in, I felt relatively comfortable that I knew the brands that were within the portfolio. The company had a history of success, and it seemed overall like a pretty blue chip stock. Before investing in Tailored Brands, I did very minimal research though. All I did was watch a few YouTube videos and looked up a few articles on the company. But seeing as how I knew the brands that were within the portfolio and I felt comfortable with it, I went ahead and I invested $500. Now, thankfully, it was only $500. And this was back in about 2018, probably somewhere in the summer of 2018, when I made this initial investment. Ever since I invested in Tailored Brands, I watched the stock price of the company steadily dwindle. In early 2020, the company declared bankruptcy, something to do with the coronavirus pandemic, but also obviously the underlying financials of the company were not solid because it did not last very long into the pandemic before it declared bankruptcy. Then once it declared bankruptcy, the company was delisted from the New York Stock Exchange. It was only trading via over-the-counter penny stock markets, and the stock price of the company kept going down, approaching zero very rapidly. After flirting with zero for several months, the company actually did come out of bankruptcy and did some corporate restructuring, through which the company was actually taken private without any compensation to existing shareholders. And this happened through some sort of bankruptcy laws in the US that I don't fully understand, but essentially all the money and all the shares that I still had tied up in Tailored Brands was worthless at that point. So while the company technically still does exist today, my $500 has gone up in smoke. I guess the key takeaway here is that sometimes stocks actually do go to zero and somebody is inevitably going to be left holding the bag. I am a bag holder. And while over time, on average, the stock market is always going to increase, individual companies can and do fail. There is no such thing as a sure thing when it comes to investing in the stock market. And like I said, my only consolation is that I wasn't investing with money that I couldn't afford to lose.
That's all I have to say about that.
Thanks so much for watching today, and don't forget to hit subscribe if you're interested in seeing more of this type of content. See you next time.